All you need to know about glaucoma. It is an initiative from Department of Ophthalmology, SGT University, on World Glaucoma Week, which is celebrated from 7th March to 13th March every year.
Hello everyone, a warm welcome to you from SGT University. Today we are here to discuss about the glaucoma, or in simple terms we can say Kala Motia. It is a group of eye condition that damages the optic nerve because of high eye pressure. It is a leading cause of blindness in India as well as the world. But blindness caused because of glaucoma can often be prevented with timely treatment. So to know more about the glaucoma, we have an expert from the ophthalmology department, Dr. A.K. Khurana, Professor and Head, Department of Ophthalmology, SGT University. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Priyanka, for taking up this very important public health problem, that is glaucoma. And at this time, I will also like to appreciate the authorities of SGT University for taking up the public awareness programs which are useful not only for general public, for our students as well. Thank you.
Sir. Sir, I'll appreciate if you tell to our audience what actually is glaucoma and how it is caused.
Well, Priyanka, you are very well introduced what glaucoma is. So here I will like to emphasize that glaucoma basically is a potentially blinding disease. So what I mean by potentially blinding disease, that if we don't diagnose it timely and if we don't treat it timely, only then it can cause blindness. Otherwise, we can treat the glaucoma, we cannot prevent the glaucoma, but we can prevent the glaucoma blindness. And if you see worldwide, it is a real menace for the public health problem. It is responsible for about 7.5 million people blind in the world, and the prevalence being about 60 million in the world. In India, about 11 million people are suffering from glaucoma, and out of which 1.5 million are suffering from blindness because of glaucoma. So we can say that rather it is the second commonest cause of blindness worldwide. So if we see as a group, it is not a single disease, but it is a group of disorders which are characterized by basically raised intraocular pressure, which ultimately causes damage to the optic nerve slowly and progressively, ultimately leading on to the blindness. Here I will also like to say that in some patients, intraocular pressure may not be the cause of this glaucoma. Rather, even normal tension glaucoma is there, in which some other factors they make the optic disc vulnerable for damage, just like glaucoma.
Sir, what are the various causes of glaucoma?
Priyanka, if I tell you that there are various types of glaucomas, and the basic mechanism or the underlying cause will be different in each type. However, the common factor which is responsible for glaucomatous damage, that is the raised intraocular pressure. So here the public should know what is intraocular pressure and how much it is the normal. The intraocular pressure, basically we say it to the pressure of the intraocular fluids which is exerted on the cords of the eyeball. And this normal pressure ranges between 10 to 21 millimeters of the mercury, with a mean of 15 to 16 millimeter in general public. So when this pressure is raised above 21 millimeters of mercury, it progressively causes damage to the optic nerve head. And this damage, it has been said that there are two factors how it causes the damage. First is the mechanical pressure itself on the retinal nerve fibers, and second is the pressure on the microcirculation. That is, so we can say that there are mechanical theory as well as vascular theory of the glaucomatous damage. So as I already said, in some patients intraocular pressure may be normal and still the glaucomatous damage can occur. So those conditions we call as normal tension glaucoma, and here the second factor, that is the microcirculation deficiency, is responsible for such type of glaucomas. So here I will also like to tell you that this normal intraocular pressure basically is maintained by a equilibrium, this is a dynamic equilibrium between the formation of this fluid and the drainage of this fluid out from the eye inside the circulation, general circulation. And so when this outward movement of the aqueous fluid, we call it the intraocular fluid, is either reduced or blocked, then the pressure will rise. So that is the basically underlying mechanism in this.
Sir, just now you have mentioned that there are various types of glaucoma. I'll appreciate if you tell to our audience about this classification and various types of glaucoma.
So Priyanka, basically glaucoma can be classified in various ways. But for general public, I will like to say that first of all, the most common glaucomas, we call them primary glaucomas. Primary glaucomas means those glaucomas which occur per se as standalone disease without any other cause. And these are also of two types. The first is called primary open angle glaucoma and second is called the primary angle closure glaucoma. So when we say primary open angle glaucoma, it means that the angle of the eye through which I was telling you the fluid passes out into the circulation. So that angle remains open, but in the end of the angle there is a structure which is a sieve-like through which it filters, and that is called trabecular meshwork. So in elderly patients, sometimes what happens, these pores of this sieve, they start closing slowly and slowly, and so the pressure starts building. So this is basically primary open angle glaucoma. So I will also like to tell you few salient features of each along with the type. So this primary open angle glaucoma usually occurs in elderly people, right? And it is so silent, the pressure builds so silent that the persons are not able to know whether they are suffering from the disease till when the disease is advanced and the vision is lost. So here is very important that everybody should know that how to suspect that they may get glaucoma. So whenever a patient starts getting mild headache or mild eye aches or difficulty in focusing, especially the elderly people, they use glasses for near vision. And if there is a frequent change in glasses for the near vision, they must suspect that they may be having and they should get their eyes checked. So basically the primary open glaucoma is also called the silent thief of vision or sneak thief of vision. And what to talk of the general public, here I will like to tell you that even one of the head of the eye department, very senior eye doctor, himself became blind because of the disease, just to emphasize that how silent this disease is. The second primary type, Dr. Priyanka, that is basically primary angle closure glaucoma. In it what happens that the angle of the eye closes and then pressure is raised, and this angle closure can manifest again in two forms. Either it can close suddenly, that we call as the acute primary angle closure glaucoma, or previously we used to call it acute congestive glaucoma. So as the name indicates, acute congestive glaucoma, that there is a sudden rise in intraocular pressure, and so the patient immediately gets very severe pain in the eyes, headache, and these are associated with the marked loss of vision, and there may be even nausea, vomiting, prostration. Rather, the patient is seriously ill and they are brought immediately to the hospital. Unfortunately, in general hospital, many times these patients are being treated for the GI disorder because of vomiting and all that, which further leads on to the blindness. So this is very important. So these are the features of acute glaucoma, and whenever this occurs, the eye doctor must be consulted. The second manifestation of the angle closure glaucoma can be chronic slow angle closure, and it manifests just like primary open angle glaucoma, except the difference being here the angle is closed rather than the sieve is closed.
Thank you, sir.
Priyanka, still this was the primary angle glaucomas. Then we can have secondary glaucomas. So secondary glaucoma means that there is some other cause underlying because of which glaucoma has occurred. That cause usually lies inside the eye itself, that is some other eye disease. For example, I will show this picture. This patient was having already cataract, so which was not treated in time, so that cataract has become swollen, and so it has caused raised pressure, which is called the phacomorphic glaucoma. Similarly, the patients, especially I will give you the example of small children, they are suffering from common allergies and they respond very well to the steroids, especially by the private practitioner, or I will say the RMPs. And the parents are also happy that they just give the drops and the child is comfortable because of the itching. Unfortunately, after 2 to 3 years, these children are brought to us with blindness because of that we call it as steroid induced glaucoma. So, similarly, there are many other causes of secondary glaucomas which we will not go into details, right. Then after the primary and secondary glaucomas, which are basically acquired glaucomas, we can also have congenital or developmental glaucomas. That is, a child may be even born with glaucoma, and here, as I already told you, either there is a malformation of the angle or sieve of that angle through which our intraocular fluid is passing. So, if that is not developed properly, the fluid starts again collecting inside the eye of the child, and here in children basically, because the eyeball is soft, the coats are soft, so they start enlarging, and the child is brought only when the eye is become very big. So, here I will like to tell the mothers that they should try to suspect before the disease becomes increased. So, what I mean to say that in early stages of childhood glaucoma, only simple watering from the eyes may be there, or child may be hiding the eyes like this, and many a time even doctors also treat for watering, because the commonest cause of watering is the blockage of the lacrimal system, all that. But here I will like to emphasize that they must rule out congenital glaucoma even in a child with simple case of watering, right. And sometimes this congenital glaucoma, which we call as a developmental glaucoma, may manifest after some years, and even it may be manifest at 15 or 14 years, that we call it as juvenile glaucoma. So, to summarize, we can have congenital and developmental glaucomas, acquired glaucomas, and acquired can be primary and secondary.
Sir, now you have told us about the various types of glaucoma. So, who all are at high risk of getting this disease?
Priyanka, this is a very good question, because as we said in the beginning, it is a potentially blinding disease, and if the person knows, or the public knows, or even the doctors knows who all are at risk of glaucoma, it can be timely detected. So, after describing so many types of glaucoma, there may be some different risk factors for each group. However, we will discuss some common one. So, the biggest and the commonest risk is the age itself. So, all primary glaucomas, they occur in elderly, and especially after 40 years of age. So, after 40 years of age, in general public, if we see, 2 out of 100 may be having glaucoma, and after 70 years of age, 10% out of 100 may be having glaucoma. So, I will like to emphasize that after the age of 40, we should get our eyes checked at least once in a year. Secondly, there are certain hereditary factors also. So, if there is a family history of glaucoma, then it is must that even they can get checked even earlier, because sometimes we get patient at 30s and 35s also developing glaucoma. So, the family history becomes second most important risk factor for having glaucoma. Then the elderly persons who are suffering from certain systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, other cardiovascular diseases. So, they are at more risk as compared to the general public. Thirdly, if there is conditions like migraine, so even normal tension glaucoma, which we were discussing, that pressure may be normal, and in these patients we can get glaucomatous damage. So, they should also get their eyes checked timely, even the younger patients, especially the females, they get migraine more commonly. Then there are certain eye diseases which also get prone. For example, the open angle glaucoma is more common in high myopes. So, if you are having refractive error high myopia, you should get it checked properly. Then we have discussed other glaucomas. So, simple history of trauma sometime and patient is almost normal can get glaucoma, and we have seen patients of angle recession glaucoma developing glaucoma after 10 years of trauma. So, if there is history of injury, so that is again a risk. Then I have already explained in detail, if you are using the steroids, that is a very big risk factor. So, the parents must be aware and they should not start using steroid themselves. So, these are the common when we should suspect that these patients can get glaucoma.
Sir, just now you have mentioned that 1 or 2 in 100 above 60 years are at higher chance of getting this disease glaucoma, as well as those who are above 70, in that age group 10 in 100 are at higher risk. So how we will screen for this glaucoma?
Again, very important and good question, that if we are able to screen, we will timely diagnose and treat. But unfortunately, screening for glaucoma in a public is not practically feasible because being such a population. So here I will like to say that rather than the public surveys or screening, we should basically emphasize on the opportunistic screening. By word opportunistic screening, I mean that whenever either the patient, they should know, or even the doctor should know that any person who comes to a doctor, eye doctor especially, is above 40 years of age, maybe only for refractive errors or difficulty in near vision, that we call presbyopia. So we should not leave that opportunity without examining the patient for signs of glaucoma, and simply checking intraocular pressure, that is, and by the having a look at the optic disc. So these are the two signs by which we can do the opportunistic screening. And here I will also like to emphasize that those who are having family history, they must get screened. Those who are suffering from diabetes and hypertension, etc., they also should get screened. And whenever we held eye camps, or sometimes I will say even the parents, they come with the child, but we should see that if they are above 40, we should also just screen them. So that's a humanitarian approach should be there. And in this way, we can detect glaucoma early in many cases.
By opportunistic screening, we can easily screen the cases for glaucoma, but how we will diagnose the cases of glaucoma?
Yes, when either the patients, they come with certain symptoms which are suggestive of glaucoma, or by the symptom which the patients are worried. So at that time we need to examine. And secondly, when on opportunistic screening we find that this patient may be suffering from glaucoma, we need to do thorough ocular examination. And in the thorough ocular examination, other than all examinations, there are certain specific tests for glaucoma which must do. And first of all is the again measurement of intraocular pressure, which we also call tonometry. And the best and accurate method is to do the applanation tonometry. However, in screening, for example, as we have gone in the camp survey, then we can use the NCT. NCT is a non-contact tonometry. It is very good for screening for the intraocular pressure. So this is the first sign. And as already told, if the pressure is more than 21 millimeter of mercury, we should suspect glaucoma, but sometimes even the pressure may be raised, but there is no glaucomatous damage. Then we call it simply ocular hypertension. And these patients are again kept for frequent follow-ups. The second sign which we look for after the measurement of intraocular pressure is to have a look at the optic disc. Optic disc, basically it is the optic nerve head, that is the internal part of the optic nerve. The optic nerve, it connects the eyeball with the brain. So the glaucoma causes damage at the optic disc, and there are typical changes, so which an eye doctor need to observe. And we can do it with stereoscopic examination best using 90D lens. However, simple direct ophthalmoscopy can also give you some clues. But main thing is that we want to use these changes for future follow-up also, okay? Because glaucoma is a lifelong disease. So for this we can have a fundus photographs of the disc, or nowadays we have the advanced technology like OCT of the disc, etc. Then after the disc, basically what happens, the retinal nerve fibers are damaged, to which we can see at the disc, but as a function they causes visual field defects. So we need to do the visual field charting, or also called perimetry, in every case. There are various types of perimeters, but the best and most useful and practical is the automated perimetry. So this is now available in every institution, including our department here also. And these fields have typical glaucomatous changes, and we need to do the serial field testing at various intervals whether our treatment is effective or not. So these are the three basic signs on which we diagnose the glaucoma. Then I was telling you that primary open angle glaucomas and primary narrow angle glaucoma. So to differentiate between these two, we need to do another test, that is called the gonioscopy, and it tells us the profile of the angle of the anterior chamber. So these are the main tests by which we make our diagnosis.
Sir, can we prevent this disease, glaucoma, and how we will treat or manage the case of glaucoma?
Again, very good question, Priyanka. Unfortunately, we cannot prevent glaucoma. Any person who is prone to get glaucoma will get glaucoma. So, we can only screen these patients for early diagnosis and we can treat them timely. So, in other words, glaucoma cannot be prevented, but blindness due to glaucoma can be prevented 100%. So, here it is very important. Sometimes the patient is frightened, oh, it's glaucoma, I am blind. It's not like that. 100% blindness can be prevented and a patient can lead almost as normal life as anybody else who is not having glaucoma, provided they take treatment timely. So, the treatment, now I will like to tell you that it will again differ what treatment we give from patient to patient and depending upon the type of glaucoma. However, basically the three modalities of treatment remain the same, and the first modality is medical therapy. By medical therapy I means we give anti-glaucoma drugs which lower the intraocular pressure, which we can measure from time to time, right? And there are various types of anti-glaucoma drugs which we will not go into details, and which is the first line of drug, which is the second line, and how we can do the monotherapy and polytherapy. We can use multiple drugs also depending upon the severity of the disease. The second modality is the laser treatment. So, laser treatment has got some specific indication. For example, as I was telling you, the narrow angle glaucomas. So, in these narrow angle glaucomas, we simply make a bypass, that is a laser peripheral iridotomy, and we can prevent the further damage. Okay? And here again to emphasize, sometimes patient come with acute attack in one eye, or we diagnose in the one eye angle glaucoma. So, that in addition to treating that eye, we can prevent attack of glaucoma in these patients by doing prophylactic peripheral iridotomy, right. Then laser can also be used in primary open angle glaucoma, and that technique is called laser trabeculoplasty. In advanced western countries now it is being used as a primary line also. In our country also in many institutions it is being used, but usually it is being used as a second line of drug. When drugs are not effective, then we can also add laser trabeculoplasty along with that. And the third modality, which is surgery. So, by surgery what we do, basically here again I will tell you, surgery will differ from the type of glaucoma. For example, if it is a congenital glaucoma, so no medical drug will help, surgery is the only treatment. So, we need to make the filtration for it by doing the goniotomy or trabeculotomy type operation. In primary open angle glaucoma, the medical therapy is the primary treatment, first line of treatment, and trabeculoplasty can be added over it. And when these patients do not respond to this treatment, only then we shift to the surgical treatment, and here surgical treatment is making another passage for the outflow of the aqueous humor from there. That these are called filtration surgeries, and the commonest being done is trabeculotomy, right. So, in addition to the medical failure therapy, there are certain poor patients who cannot afford, because it is a lifelong treatment. Even in those patients we can do early surgeries, and there are certain patients who are non-compliant, they can't use, they do not have a person to put drugs. Even in those also we prefer to do early surgery. Otherwise, medical therapy is the treatment of choice in primary open angle glaucomas. And primary angle glaucomas, I told you that initially we do the laser for iridotomies, and in chronic glaucomas they are treated like primary open angle glaucoma with medicines also, and surgery same if required, if the medical is not treated.
Sir, any other important message you would like to give to our audience?
Yes, it is very important to give an important message. We have already said that glaucoma is a very serious, potentially blinding disease. So, its timely detection is most important, and so all the risk factors, those who are prone to it, they must get examined timely. Number two, once glaucoma is diagnosed, it is a lifelong disease. So, regular timely follow-up and use of treatment is important. It is not that you just keep on using the drugs and do not come for follow-up, because many times the drug therapy fails. So, regular follow-up is most important. And thirdly, the family history, if it is there, all family members should get examined timely. And everybody who is suffering from glaucoma they should spread message to their near and dear. The glaucoma blindness can be prevented if treated timely.
So today we have Dr. Khurana with us, and sir has nicely explained what actually is glaucoma, what are its risk factors, how we will screen, diagnose and treat the glaucoma. But unfortunately we cannot prevent the glaucoma, but we can prevent the blindness caused by this disease, and timely treatment and follow-up are the utmost important things in case of a glaucoma. Thank you, sir, for sharing this information with our audience. Thank you.